Coming to you live from the Business RadioX studio, it's Franchise Marketing Radio. Elevate your franchise with Franchise Now. We tell your brand story on our radio podcast and boost it with powerful content marketing strategies. From blogs and videos to infographics and more, we enhance your brand's SEO and online visibility. Let Franchise Now help your franchise stand out in a crowded market. Visit us today and learn more to start your journey for greater visibility and success. And now, here's your host.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Franchise Marketing Radio. We're the podcast where we delve into the dynamic world of franchising, bringing you insights directly from the industry's most innovative leaders. And today is no exception. And I want to welcome back Bill McPherson. He's the Vice President of Franchise Development for both PostNet and AlphaGraphics. And we're going to break that down a little bit and talk a little bit about marketing and technology today and where things might be going. So again, Bill brings 30 years of experience from the franchise industry or plus. Don't want to date him or I, but we have some time underneath us. And so we're going to have a nice conversation, but we want to talk about just kind of where things are headed into the future. So I want to welcome Bill back to the show. Welcome back, Bill. It's good to have you.
Rob, it's great to be back. And you just reminded me before this that we're about an hour apart from each other here in Denver. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a great place to be. I think both of us have a little wisdom there. I think we found the right place to hang out here in the U.S. But so it's great to have you back. So just to kind of kick things off, and I know you've been on the show before, but I like to remind the guests just kind of where you're coming from and what you're doing. So you've got PostNet and AlphaGraphics, which to me are known brands. At least I know them, and I know not everybody does. So maybe you could help break down the sort of the differences, the unique qualities of those brands, and how they might complement for the audience.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So we've been around 52 and 32 years, respectively, as you mentioned, AlphaGraphics and PostNet. So very long 10 years of success as brands. I think a few things that make the brands unique and complementary is our leadership team that drives innovation, thought leadership, not only within marketing, print, and pack and ship, but I'd say all of franchising is pretty powerful. Our qualification process for vetting new franchise owners is another distinct quality. We're very selective on who we award franchises to. And so therefore, we feel we have the best entrepreneurs in the industry. And it shows because our average unit volume, as of last week with our new disclosure document, is at a record high for both brands. So I think making sure that we bring the right entrepreneurs in and that we have thought leadership from a technology standpoint and within the industry are things that truly set us apart.
I love how you snuck that in, that last part. That's really awesome. Congratulations. I mean, that's not easy to me. That's like the KPI, because if people are making money and successful in a franchise network, and that's the story or the primary story, then the rest kind of follows suit. So that is the one you want to zero in on. And I did a quick search before we talked, and AlphaGraphics and PostNet are both, got awards and growing and got momentum clearly, and both established, right? So that's the interesting thing. And so I kind of want to break that down a little bit and maybe just start with, what in your mind is like, how does technology play a role? We were going to get into tech a little. You could start with one brand or the other if you want, but where in your mind, obviously you guys have this success, this track record.
Yeah.
How do you protect that? And how does innovation play a role and tech play a role in doing that?
Well, I mean, a few things come to mind. We've got amazing marketing and training departments led by Stephanie Johnson in marketing and Clayton Udi in training. And the team is always at the forefront of new strategies, leveraging technology, driving key metrics and performance for our franchise owners, and then making sure that we have the training tools and curriculum to make sure that our franchisees are properly trained in core competencies. So I'll give you a recent example on the AlphaGraphics side. We're just rolling out what we call AG Enterprise, and we rolled it out a few months ago at the International Franchise Association. but an innovative, truly e-commerce platform for our existing and future customers. So that's an example that comes to mind on how we're kind of helping our franchisees and being at the forefront of technology solutions to help them drive their business.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit. That sounds very intriguing. So AG Enterprise, you
Yep.
said, and dive into that. Like, what is the experience like if I'm a customer? Like, what is it doing for me?
Well, so it kind of depends on the nature of the customer. So whether it's maybe a regional, smaller company that just needs technology solutions that hang off of our website, so ordering, inventory management, et cetera, and all the way up to national accounts. So this will feed in very strongly to our national accounts. So truly how we go proactively to larger companies all across the US, we land those national accounts and then provide the technology, the ordering, the pricing, et cetera, to be able to feed our franchisees to take advantage of those national accounts.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. As you get bigger, that becomes a greater need, right?
Yeah.
You have a greater ability to make an impact, and everybody has to work kind of together as a team. It's more than just localized, right? It's a
Yes.
network.
Yes.
Yeah, very interesting. So, like, you guys do a lot of traditional marketing stuff, right? Print stuff and just cool stuff that just touch and feel stuff, but also a lot of digital stuff, of course, all that. But tell me how you merge the two. Like, what's that look like when you have these sort of balancing act of old and the new? Because the old still works real good. In fact, I wonder if some of the direct mail type services might be more impactful here in the coming years, just because I've noticed it dwindle, and now you've got this opportunity where you could probably stand out. So I don't think there's anything slowing down there. But how do you deal with these changes and and balance, I guess, the old and the new?
Yeah. In fact, like direct mail is a perfect example, right? So, for many years, maybe everyone thought direct mail was dead. You got something in your mailbox, you just trashed it without even opening it because you knew it was just a flyer or a card or what have you. But it's really, really strong, making a strong impact, comeback in the sense of our ability to target using technology, target customers, whether it's geo, whether it's certain by geography, whether it's by profile. And then with the advances in technology like variable data printing, being able to customize those pieces for that target audience. So it's no longer Rob just getting a, Val pack in the mail. It's Rob getting a very customized piece based on your demographics, what your buying patterns might be, what you're looking for. And so we have that by leveraging technology, kind of the old and the new.
Yeah, yeah, that's the important thing. Like I love because the mechanism of direct mail is still, I think, very viable, like touching and feeling and I think, but if you can bring the technology in and make it like Netflix,
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that, anticipating what's good for me. And that, as a marketer, you always knew these ideas were important, but it's like to execute on them was extremely hard until nowadays with guys like you, with your brands. I mean, you can do things that weren't possible 10 years ago with direct
I'll give,
mail.
I'll give you an example. Just by coincidence, we had this on the calendar for a while, but by coincidence yesterday, literally yesterday in our offices, I'll give you an example of what we're just talking about. So we're interviewing for a senior position, and my boss, the CEO, and myself got a 3 foot cardboard tube, architectural tube, like you'd see roll up like space plans or what have you. And we didn't know what it was, so we opened it. And somebody who wanted to apply for the position leveraged technology in a very creative way. This person had a 3-page, 2 foot by 3 foot. So you can imagine the size of it, 2 foot by 3 foot resume and it looked like an architectural blueprint. And they had dropped in, probably using AI, pictures of our locations to mirror with her resume. And so it was amazing. It was so creative in the use of technology because we got it and there's no way we're not going to open it, right? We don't know what it is, but it's this little 3 foot tube and it's addressed to us. So we're going to open it. And then when you open it, it's her professional background, 2 by 3 foot, looking like an architectural drawing and showing how she could impact for this particular position using AI to build in pieces and pictures and so forth. It was just amazing.
I think anyone who's listening right now just got one of the best,
Yeah.
almost 100%. I don't know how you wouldn't hire that person.
I
How do
know.
you know? They would have to come. They would have to totally blow it, right?
So
I mean, I don't know what.
I think somehow, Rob, there's a royalty in here for us, for listeners that use this.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. What a great idea. And I've thought of that a lot in my life, like doing those types of things. And nowadays, with these abilities we have as people, like to use tech, sort of like, again, they say like, you're a billionaire, you've got an iPhone. You have barely any money, you still have an iPhone. Like everybody has access now, like
Yeah.
at least in the US. But that's amazing. Yeah. And that's what people, I think the younger generations might sort of capture that. But I think, a lot of us really smart people that are older, we need to do some of that, right? Going and being creative and using what's at our fingertips in a different way.
Yep.
Cool. So, all right, let's delve in a little bit into the topic that everybody talks about, especially if we're talking technology services, and you guys get into some of that with the marketing. And tell me a little bit about how you steer around the new AI impact that we're seeing, right? But
Well,
what does that look like for you guys?
I mean, that's a very timely question. As I mentioned, we actually have a meeting this Monday um, about the tool that we're going to decide on for AI. What's best for us internally to support our franchise owners, to develop new programs, and then be able to roll that tool out to our business coaches, if you will, that support our owners to help them be more efficient. Use of technology, AI, to drive better results at the unit level. So we've been researching it for a couple months, different products, and we're meeting literally on Monday to get this to the next level within our systems.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking also that, this idea of exponential growth and change is we techie people talked about. I remember reading some stuff in around 2020 and just about the 2020s being this speed of change thing going on that was
Yep.
beyond anything we'd been used to. And I said, sure, I get that. And it made sense to me. But it wasn't until the ChatGPT sort of trigger that I realized just how unique and different the challenge would be to
Right.
keep up with it. Right. It is almost, we have to build processes to innovate or test and do it fast and efficiently and grab whatever we can in terms of impact. So you guys said earlier, like, you just had some of your best years ever for average unit volume and things like those KPIs we talked about. So important with AI. It's like, obviously you look at that and say, well, I think we can move that needle. Right. And so you implement something, but then it's like, well, what happens next year? It could be even more powerful. So you got to balance this thing of being fast enough, but smart enough about where the tech is going. Like we talked about the Wayne Gretzky, go to where the puck is, not where it is, but where it's going, skate to where the puck is. So again, what are your thoughts on that? Is there, like, in your mind, a good way to go about testing an efficient process, or just any ideas on that approach?
Well, I think what comes to mind is so one of my colleagues, Corey Schwatsky, he's our VP of purchasing and onboarding, and he's been in the print industry for 25 years ish. And he's just done some really amazing things when it comes to workflow automation for our franchisees. He's been very influential with several of our owners and locations in improving production workflow, reducing waste, reducing labor. So again, how do you take the new technology, apply it to your business now, see results, but then, like you say, make sure that you're a thought leader and you're continue open to changing, and how can you apply it in 3 months from now? Because it'll probably be very different.
Yeah. And, the franchise industry is, we're obviously in it. We're fans of it. We love it. But you have it's a different situation, because you have to, as the franchise brand or franchisor, you have to be thinking about, you're not just going to throw things out to the network, right?
Right.
It's about adoption. It's about execution. It's about proving concepts. And as part of the beauty of franchising is the franchisor helps to do that, because at the ground level, when you're running your business, it's hard to work on your business when you're in it. And so it's so fantastic to have that. But we are in a different world, right? This is moving quicker. This is quicker. So you can't just say, well, it's quicker, so we got to hurry up and change again. It's a little more difficult than that. So
No,
I think that, yeah.
I'm sorry, to your point, it's somebody that's not involved with a franchise that tries to stay at the cutting edge of something like AI, forget it. There's no way they can. You need
There's
that
no tech.
partnership with the franchisor to be able to do that.
Exactly. I spend so much time just in the research and then the execution, the testing, you test your hypothesis. We think it'll move these needles. We're going to go ahead and test it. I mean, that takes time. You can't just stop what you're doing every day and test things, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't with AI, it is a world where next thing you know, you don't understand why your competitors are beating your pants, whipping
Yep.
your pants. So it's like that's where I think that's where the idea comes from. So what a good time to be in franchising in my mind. That's the key.
Yeah.
It's the best time to be in a network for resiliency and change to deal with the change. So just looking at your broader industry, when you think about some of your competition, how do you think about that? Do you think some of them, what do you think they're about? Do you guys keep an eye on some of the things they do? Was it always something you did to kind of see how you might innovate compared to some of the competitive forces in the market?
Yeah, we do. We're very close to who we deem as our competitors in the market from a provider standpoint. And it's ironic that over the years we've had people that have worked for our competitors that are now with us. So we do get some inside information, if you will. But I think, like we said, it's changing so rapidly. What we know today, technology, AI is literally changing every month. So I think the important thing is to make sure that the franchisor uh, educates its franchisees, embraces technology, and then, like you said, figures out how to best leverage that to improve. It's all about improving the performance of the franchisees. At least for us, it is. We don't have a single
Right.
corporate store, so we derive all our revenue from a success of our franchisees. So how do we leverage these new technologies to improve operations and drive system-wide performance?
Yeah, that's it, right? That's the
Yeah.
KPI you talked about earlier, and it's doing well. So that's the key. That's if you get that right, as I said, I think everything else can flow.
Yeah.
When you think about recruiting, because I know that you're close to expansion and growth, and if you think about new franchisees and evaluating the fit, interesting because you've always been in this tech world, right? You've
Mhm.
been having these services for quite a while, and so that is a certain kind of business owner. But how do you now navigate? So you had that before, where it was a tech type of role. You're running a tech business in some ways, and so it's how now do you add this additional sort of change when you recruit? Do you account for it now? Do you start to think we need people that are more resilient, they can adapt to change faster, they want to do that? Do you think that way, or do you feel something has changed, or what are your thoughts on that, on
Well,
recruiting?
I mean, let's say, even before, where AI is today, you're right. I think it depends on the business model. So both of our business models have a heavy component of technology, right? So print, marketing, pack solutions. And so we've always kind of looked through the lens that when we bring in new owners, they, as the owner, need to embrace that and the speed at which it's changing, or make sure that they hire a general manager or a graphics designer or somebody that's willing to embrace that change in technology. Because if somebody doesn't embrace it at the unit level, they will get left behind. And so as a franchisor, as a leader for our franchisees, we need to make sure, like I said, that we're proactive and not reactive to changes in technology. So what we're doing with, I mentioned workflow automation, meeting Monday to discuss the best AI tool. We need to be a proactive thought leader in the industry, not be reactive.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Do you think there is incremental gains at the ground level of every employee? Like, do you guys think about that? Do you think that so the franchisees have a team, right?
Yeah.
And how important is it, do you think, at least in the future, to get everybody grounded in AI, meaning using it even in their day to day, just what they're doing? How does that look for you guys?
Yeah, I think it will seep into all different parts of operations for both models. And so, for example, our learning and development team, as we speak, is continuing to revise the curriculum on how we train not only new owners but their staff. So the new owner's one thing, but then if they've got a salesperson or somebody in charge of marketing or an inside sales customer service person, how do we train them to leverage technology, AI, et cetera? to get better results, better customer service, et cetera. So yeah, that's happening as we speak with our training and learning development teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I think everybody's sort of rounding the troops around it saying, well, what are all the tiers of education we have to think about here? Because it kind of affects all of us. Like we're all going to use it every day eventually in some
Yeah.
way. We probably do indirectly now if you're using Google or you're using Facebook or anything. But more as an interactive tool with this intelligence, this sort of assistant model where you have something to help you do your job better or faster. So, yeah, it's an interesting idea, and I think there will be gains for companies that can figure out how do we make everybody a little bit more impactful
Yeah.
coming from where they from where their world is.
Yeah.
So just looking forward, if you're giving some advice to somebody, I mean, we talked tech a lot today. What I mean, just in terms of if you're a franchisee or you're thinking about taking that step as a business owner, how important would it be to consider this idea, this relationship that this person has with technology? How important is it if you want to start a business, in other words, to embrace
Yeah.
technology?
I think it depends on the brand, the business model, right? So in our case, both brands, it's very important, right? So printing, signage, pack, ship, logistics. So for our brands, it's extremely important that one, that we are a thought leader in the industry as the franchisor, but two, that we bring franchisees in that understand the importance of that as it relates to this franchise model or models. And so, I think my team is slightly changing its lens a little bit on who we bring in. But like I said before, we've always kind of looked through that lens that we need somebody that's going to embrace technology. But I think it moves up on the forefront for us on new franchisees to make sure we're looking through that lens. If they come in through the process and they make it clear or articulate to us that they can barely turn on their cell phone, it's probably not going to be a good fit to move them into a franchise ownership with one of our models, right?
Yeah,
So
no.
go look for a different business model, work from home, vending machine, so a different business model. But for ours, it remains very important.
Well, and do you think in your role in terms of the brands and how you interact with the communities and the clients and everybody in your ecosystem, do you think it, and me too, because I'm in technology and stuff, but I mean, do you kind of view it like we're the ambassadors? We're probably the guys that have to help everybody else, right? Because it's going to move too quick.
Yeah.
So that's also the other component, right? I think if you're taking on this role as a business owner for one of your brands, it is that person that says, yeah, I want to help, because I think that's what it looks like. It's not so much what it was. It is we're just going to have to roll up our sleeves and help each other because it's just going to be really interesting to watch the next few years. But
yeah, because it's changing so quick, as we just talked about. We have our annual conference coming up in 2 months, if you will, in Texas. And, this will be a topic, right? Whether it's classes or keynotes or what have you, but we have to learn together on some of this, right? So, because it's changing so quickly. So how do we embrace that relationship between franchisee and franchisor on something that's so critical, that's evolving to help drive their businesses?
yeah. Do you guys ever think about like a lot of the AI that's happening right now is very early stages? I kind of call it dial up. We're like in dial up right now, dial up internet. For anyone who's too young to know what that meant. Um, but in terms of like when you think about some of the stuff we see, we know AI can communicate, it can text back and forth, it can talk. It's sort of a personality at this point. We're hearing a little bit of that is evolving. So is the brand like, do you think, and maybe this is a little premature, but how does the brand navigate that voice if you're going to start to use it? And I know you talked about some tools, and I don't know what those were that you're thinking about, but some of the tools are tools where they're front facing. They're going to communicate with prospects, possible leads, right? It could be a speed to lead kind of scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you navigate the brand voice have you guys thought about like how to deal with that, or does it concern anybody? Like having an AI speak for the brand, do you see that as being a little bit of an apprehension for brands? Maybe not just yours, but just in general, how do we do this? This is representing us. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just mentioned a lot of stuff there that we're trying to unpack because, for example, one of the new programs with PostNet is what we call first name basis. So our franchisees involved in the community and knowing their customers on a first name basis. And our marketing team has done a phenomenal job of shooting footage of this just most recently on specific clients and how we have that relationship. So how do you balance that with having AI be forward thinking and trying to communicate to either customers or prospects? Because then do you lose that first name basis and that relationship piece, right? So these are all the things we need to discuss as executives and how it impacts our brand. It may be very different for a different kind of franchise concept, but for us, it's extremely important that we get that right. How do we leverage the technology, but not lose our core messaging, relationship, being a part of the community, et cetera?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is, to me, the AI is the brand eventually. It'll be communicating at all tiers of the business in some way, right?
Yeah.
And so it has to represent the brand. And if you get it right, it probably could do a good job, right? Consistency anyway. Because
Yeah, but
human beings don't.
if you get it wrong and don't do your research and have a well thought out strategy, it could hurt the brand.
Even worse, to the same effect, right? It's like consistently doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Consistently has the wrong tone. That's not good.
Yeah.
So, no, that's where we're at, though. We're at that stage where it is a lot of trial and error. And I would say move, but be cautious. And as I said, you look at the levers that make the biggest impact. And you guys already have your eyes on those things. And so it's just a matter of, well, how do we move that, measure the risk? And yeah, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
The good news, Rob, is on this topic, our president and COO, Ryan Ferris, he's always been at the forefront of our technology rollouts. And so, we're pretty pleased and excited and confident that he will drive us in the right direction. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to share about any things you see coming down the pike? Anything new?
Well, I think, a couple things new are coming down the pike. For AlphaGraphics, as I mentioned, we're just finishing the rollout of that new e-commerce AG Enterprise. For PostNet, we're probably 60 to 70% through with a completely new POS system, point of sale migration for all of our franchisees, which is a heavy lift and leveraging new technology that'll provide them the tool to operate their businesses more efficiently. And then once we get done with that on the PostNet side, we'll dive into a new CRM system, client relation management system, that will roll out for PostNet as well. So some pretty exciting things right now and coming down the pike in the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, that's just a small snippet of a ton of stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can say those in 1 minute, but those are about 18 months worth of work from all the executives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I say that they're big projects, some of the things you mentioned, but important ones and enabling ones, right?
Yeah.
For what we just talked about, right? So you're thinking again, where are we skating towards, right? When you're investing in those technologies. And so that is an interesting decision, a new one, like we didn't have maybe a few years back.
Yeah.
But, interesting projects, very important ones. So it sounds exciting. So just before we let you go today, we said a lot about change and about tech and about opportunity. In your mind, maybe let's kind of talk about opportunity, leave the audience a little bit about opportunity. If someone's interested in working with a company like yours, right? Maybe it's in the tech field and it's a services company that services small businesses or any size business. But we talked a lot about dealing with change, also being an ambassador. Is there any advice or tips you might give someone if they're approaching a franchise brand like yours? And we also mentioned something earlier about how they got your attention on the employment side. But I think for a brand like yours, you're very picky because you don't need to necessarily just get the next person that says, I've got the money. So like, what would the advice you give them, whether they're approaching a brand like yours or another iconic type of brand that's been around a long time? What advice would you give?
So a potential franchise candidate owner?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think first and foremost, do their homework, talk to franchisees, maybe even talk to vendors that deal with that franchisor. And what I would hope that they would walk away with is that they've got a franchisor that is investing the time and energy and money to be a thought leader in the industry. Again, proactive, not reactive, because if not, how many, we'll probably date both of us here, but when we look at brands like Toys R Us and Blockbuster and so forth that I grew up with, and like they're gone. And part of the reason they're gone probably is they did not embrace technology and forward thinking on helping them drive unit economics, and they're gone. And so as a potential franchisee today, making sure that you feel that the leadership team at the franchisor, and probably even some key franchisees within the system, like we have a national leadership council and a franchise advisory council where we have key franchisees that are helping with our strategic direction with our executive team. Talk to them as well. Make sure that they feel that the collaboration is there with the franchisee and the franchisor, that the investment is there by the franchisor to be able to be forward thinking on these technologies to help the franchisees at the unit level.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's like we said, you have to be an innovator. But I guess at the end of the day, the person that's stepping into the shoes of running a business here would have to be someone who's passionate about that, about change and about innovation. And I know I am, but to me, it's natural. It's not like it, but I will say I'm challenged. Like, I feel like there is the bigger propensity to chase shiny objects and not focus enough. Right. So I think that's maybe for all of us, right? Anyone really that's ambitious is to move quickly, but be thoughtful at the same time, which is a new thing. I think it's another level of thoughtfulness, but speed as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what's good about the franchising model too, because I think more now than ever, you need that validation and that verification that there's another set of eyes on these things that are experts at it, right? So you just focus on your day to day and not get so caught up in that, because that is a distraction when you're working on your own.
Yeah.
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 Well, listen, it was great having you. So before I do let you go, I like to direct people. So I guess just going to the sites. So what is the best way, if they are interested and happen to be tuning in, to reach out to you guys? What's the fastest path to do that?
Yeah. So we've got two different websites, one for the consumers that are looking for products and services, and then one for entrepreneurship. So alphagraphicsfranchise.com or postnetfranchise.com.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, Bill, it's always a pleasure. We're going to do this again, and I definitely want to keep bringing you back because I know you guys are going to be innovating and it'd be interesting. We'll have all these, and we're gonna take them step by step over the next few years and see how things change. But I think it's going to be fun to watch.
It's always a pleasure, and I appreciate you having me, man.
You got it. All right, we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.